Good morning, friends. We have already covered nouns and pronouns, and you can find the discussions in the channel playlist. Today, we will talk about the main driving force of the family, the one that gives these nouns and pronouns something to do or become. Today, we will discuss about verbs, though we will limit our discussions only to the transitive and intransitive verbs in this session. So, first of all, what are verbs? Let's start with the definition. The words that tell us about the state of a noun or describe any action done by a subject or to a subject or occur to a subject are called verbs. So basically, if a subject is the doer in a sentence, somebody who does something that is, then the word that describes whatever he does is called a verb. Verbs are the most important part of the predicate and can even manage a sentence on their own without requiring a subject to lead it. Such sentences are called imperative sentences. For example, open the door, close the window, bring me a glass of water. These words like open, close, bring, they are all verbs. But in these sentences, there are no subjects. In fact, the subject is understood in each case. Anyway, the highlighted words or group of words in the definition are examples of verb. They basically tell us about the action of such words or describes them. Now, let us take a look at some examples. All these words that you can see here, all these words that you can find here, for example, cut, fly, go, love, deal, paint, bite, arise, pay, feed, all the words, any of them, they're all examples of verbs as they all talk about some action, some activity, and hence they're all called verbs. Now let us take a look at some more examples. This girl is dancing. This superhero is reading. This policeman is waving at us, and this girl is running from the police. So, dance, read, wave, run, these are all some action, some activity, and therefore are all verbs. Now, let's come to the main topic of today's discussion, that is transitive and intransitive verbs. But before that, let's talk about transition, the root word. Webster defines transition as the passage or movement from one state, stage, subject, or place to another. Transit is a word that suggests transportation or conveyance, some means to convey something from one to another. So, for example, say transatlantic. Something or someone is transported or conveyed from one side of the Atlantic to another. Now, such transitions can be seen in case of verbal actions too. The action or the effect of it can be conveyed from the doer to someone or something else. For example, he reads. Now, here, reads is the verb, but the action of reading is limited to the doer. We only know about the subject, but we have no idea about what he is doing. So, if we ask, he reads what, we get no answer. And therefore, we can say the verb reads is used here intransitively. Again, if we say he reads a book using the same verb reads, we can say that the action of reading is conveyed to the book. We know about the subject, that is he. We also know what he is doing, that is reading, and we also know where the effect of his action is conveyed from him to the book. So here if we ask he reads what, we get an answer, a book. Therefore, we can say the verb reads is used here transitively. Now let us take a good look at the details. Sometimes the verbs don't take an object. the idea of the verb, action, or a state of being is not conveyed to anything else. It starts with the subject and it ends with the subject. For example, Jason thinks a lot. Jason weeps. So you see, the action, the idea of thinking, weeping starts with Jason. What am I thinking? It starts with him and it ends with him. It is not conveyed or transported to something else. Again, here is Jason. He says, I weep, but what makes me weep? No idea. Again, his weeping is limited to the subject only, to Jason only. So, think, weep, these verbs are used here intransitively. Now, let's take a good look at some more examples. I walk, I worry, I party hard. The boy says, I am angry. So, these verbs like walk, worry, party, am, they are not conveyed from these fine people to something else. They start with the subject and they end with it. So therefore we can say that all these words here, all these verbs here are used intransitively. Let's take a look at some more examples. I am tired. Vijay is ill. You seem angry. Am, is, seem, etc. are the verbs which cannot express a complete sense without some other word or words. These are called copulative verbs or verbs of incomplete predication. You see, am, I am, no sense is coming, it is incomplete. Vijay is, again, it is an incomplete sentence. You seem, we don't know what you seem. So all these words, they take these extra words like tired, ill, angry to convey a complete sense. Such verbs are called copulative verbs or verbs of incomplete predication. On the other hand, Superman flies, milk boils, sit down. In these examples of intransitive verbs, the meaning is conveyed without the requirement of any additional words. The additional words taken by intransitive verbs like tired, ill, angry, such words are called subject complements as they say something about the subject. Tired talks about the condition of the subject I. Ill says something about Vijay's condition. And angry says something about you. So all these words are called subject complements. Now let's come to the verbs which are used transitively. The verbs can take an object after them, that is another noun in the predicate part to complete the meaning. Such verbs are said to be used transitively. For example, Nisa reads a book. Here is Nisa and yes, she is reading a book. The action of reading is conveyed from this sweet girl to the book. On the other hand, Isa, probably Nisa's sister, listens to music. And here she is with her headphones on, listening to music. The action from listen is conveyed to music. Let's take a look at some more examples. Set the table there. I have got an idea. He cannot play football and the girl is really irritated. She says, stop the noise. Now the verb set comes with the object table. I have got an idea. The object here is an idea. He cannot play football. The verb play takes football as its object and stop the noise. If we ask stop what, we get the answer the noise. So all these verbs here has their own object and can be said to be used transitively. Let's take a look at some more examples. He ran a comb through his hair. The woodcutter fell the trees with his mighty strokes. The farmers grow lentils in this field. So all these words, the verbs in these sentences, they have their own objects. If we ask, the woodcutter fell what? We get the answer, the trees. The farmers grow what? We get the answer, lentils. So these verbs, they have their own objects, and hence we can say these are all transitive verbs. Sometimes the transitive verbs take some extra words in the predicate which tells something about the object. Such extra words are called object complements. We call this process embryogenesis. He bought the car second hand. Horlicks made the boy strong. So we call this process embryogenesis. We call what? This process. Now the extra word is embryogenesis. He bought what? The car. The extra information is second hand. Horlicks made the boy strong. Horlicks made whom? The boy. Strong is the extra information. So all these extra words which tell us something about the object are called object complements. Now the point is how to identify transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. The presence of an object determines whether a verb is used transitively or intransitively. First of all, we have to identify the verb in a sentence. Then we have to question the verb with what or whom. If there is any answer to that question, then the verb is used transitively. However, if there is no such answer, then it is used intransitively. Remember, the answer must come only by asking the verb what or whom. No other questioning word will be entertained in this case. For example, Jasmine sings a song. Here sings is the verb, and Jasmine sings what? We get the answer a song. So here sings is used transitively. Let's consider another sentence. Jasmine sings beautifully. We have the same verb, that is sings. And then if we ask Jasmine sings what? The question will be wrong because there are no answers. However, if we ask how does Jasmine sing, we can say beautifully. And therefore, in this example, the verb is used intransitively. Now, let's talk about some final points to remember. Verbs are not transitive or intransitive in themselves. They are used transitively or intransitively. For example, I am listening to music. Here, listening what? Music, transitive. But I am listening carefully. How am I listening? Listening here is used intransitively. Similarly, he laughed at me. Laughed at has the object me, therefore it is transitive. But he laughed hysterically. Here we have no object and therefore the verb is intransitive. Intransitive verbs may take a preposition and object and become transitive. For example, we talked about the problem several times. I only wish for fame. Talked. The verb takes the preposition about and then the object, the problem. Same goes for wish. It takes the preposition for and then the object fame to become transitive. Intransitive verbs may also take an object or something object-like, similar in meaning to the verb to become transitive. For example, I slept a sound sleep. They fought a good fight. She sang a beautiful song. The word sleep is related to slept. The word fight is related to the verb fought. And the noun song is related to the verb sang. So here the intransitive verbs are taking some similar meaning objects and becomes transitive. Our discussion ends here. Hope you like it. Thank you.